Hello students, welcome to the lecture on Environment Protection Act, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Discuss the environment, explain environmental pollutant and environmental pollution. Discuss National Environment Tribunal Act 1995, describe National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1997, explain noise pollution, Regulation and Control Rules 2000, discuss powers of the central government under the Act, discuss prevention and control of pollution, explain water pollution, describe restrictions on new outlets and new discharges, discuss Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, discuss power of state government to declare air pollution control areas. Let us start with a brief introduction to the Environment Act. The Environment Protection Act 1986 was constituted on 19 November 1986 to provide for the protection and improvement of environment and for matters connected with environment. The Environment Protection Act 1986 defines environment to include water, air and land, and the interrelationship which exists among and between water, air and land and human beings are the living creatures, plants, microorganisms and property. Let us now talk about our environment. Environment includes water, air and land, and the interrelationship which exists among and between water, air and land and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms and property. Environment shall mean the space with all living organisms and natural resources. Scope of environmental science. Environmental science is a multidisciplinary science whose basic aspects have a direct relevance to every section of the society. Its main aspects are conservation of nature and natural resources, conservation of biological diversity, control of environmental pollution, stabilization of human population and environment, social issues in relation to development and environment, development of non-polluting renewable energy system and providing new dimension to nation security. Let us now talk about environment pollutant. Environmental pollutant means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment. Environmental pollutant means any solid, liquid or gaseous substances present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment and human being. Hazardous substance means any substance or preparation which, by reason of its chemical or physiochemical properties, is liable to cause harm to human beings or other living creatures. Handling in relation to any substance, it means the manufacturing, processing, treatment, packaging, storage, transportation, use, collection, destruction, conversion, offering for sale, etc. Environmental pollution can be defined as the unfavorable alterations of our surroundings. Environmental pollution is the biggest menace to the human race on this planet today. It means adding impurity to environment. The environment consists of earth, water, air, plants and animals. If we pollute them, then the existence of man and nature will be hampered. Different types of environmental pollution. There are the different types of environmental pollution: water pollution, land pollution, air pollution, radioactive pollution, thermal pollution, noise pollution. now discuss the National Environment Tribunal Act 1995. The National Environment Tribunal Act 1995 provides for strict liability for damages arising out of any accident occurring while handling any hazardous substance, and for the establishment of a National Environment Tribunal for effective and expeditious disposal of cases arising from such accident, with a view to giving relief and compensation for damages to persons, property and the environment, and for connected or incidental matters. An act to provide for strict liability for damage arising out of any accident or handling any hazardous substance, and for the establishment of a National Environmental Tribunal for effective and expeditious disposal of cases arising from such accidents, with a view to giving relief and compensation for damages to persons, property and the environment for matters connected therewith. Now let us discuss the National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1995. This act provides for the establishment of a National Environment Appellate Authority to hear appeals with respect to restriction of areas in which industries, operations or process or class of industries, operation and process it shall be carried out subject to certain safeguards under the Environment Protection Act 1986. Function of the National Environment Appellate Authority Act NEAA. The preamble of the NEAA Act 1997 states as follows: an act to provide for the establishment of a National Environment Appellate Authority to hear appeals with respect to restriction of areas in which any industries, operations or processes or class of industries, operations or processes shall not be carried out or shall be carried out subject to certain safeguards under the Environment Protection Act 1986 for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. The scheme of the NEAA Act. The statutory scheme of the NEAA Act indicates that the NEAA is intended to be independent authority presided over by senior functionary of the judiciary with substantial judicial experience. Chairperson is supported by members with experience in technical matters. Let us now discuss the Noise Pollution Rules 2000. Noise generated from machineries, industries, vehicles, power station, loudspeakers and other activities not only cause health hazard to human beings but also cause stress. The central government made the Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000 for the regulation and control of noise producing and generating sources. Short title and commencement. These rules may be called the Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000. They shall come into force on the date of their publication in the Official Gazette. Definition. In these rules, unless the context of noise requires, Act means the Environment Protection Act 1986, 29th of 1986. Area or zone means all areas which fall in either of the four categories given in the schedule annexed to these rules. Authority means and includes any authority or officer authorized by the central government. Court means a government body consisting of one or more judges who sit to adjudicate disputes and administer justice, and includes any court of law presided over a judge or judges or a magistrate and acting as a tribunal in civil, taxation and criminal case. Educational institution means a school, seminary, college, university, professional academies, training institutes or other educational establishment, not necessarily a chartered institution, and includes not only buildings but also all grounds necessary for the accomplishment of the full scope of educational instruction, including those things essential to mental, moral and physical development. Hospital means an institution for the reception and care for sick, wounded, infirm or aged person, and includes government or private hospital, nursing homes and clinics. Persons shall include any company or association or body of individuals, whether incorporated or not. State government in relation to a union territory means the administrator thereof appointed under Article 239 of the Constitution. Public place means any place to which the public have access, whether as of right or not. Night time means a period between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Ambient air quality standard in respect of noise for different areas or zones. Responsibility as to enforcement of noise pollution control measures. restrictions on the use of loudspeakers or public address systems and sound producing instruments, restrictions on the use of horns, sound emitting construction equipments and bursting of firecrackers, consequences of any violation in silence zone or area, complaints to be made to the authority, power to prohibit, etc., continuance of music, sound or noise. Let us discuss powers of the central government under the Act. The central government has the power to take all such measures as it deems necessary for the purpose of protecting and improving the quality of environment and preventing, controlling and abating environmental pollution. Let us now talk about the prevention and control of pollution. The enhanced pace of developmental activities and rapid urbanization have resulted in stress on natural resources and quality of life. The trend of increasing pollution in various environmental media is evident from the deteriorating air and water quality, high noise levels, increasing vehicular emission, etc. Major activities carried out under several programs or schemes during the year are as follows: industrial pollution, abatement through preventive strategies. This scheme is an amalgamation of the three ongoing schemes, namely environmental audit, adoption of clean technologies in small-scale industries, environmental statistic and mapping, which have been continuing since 8 5-year plan, environmental statement as a part of environmental audit. Environmental audit is a management tool and provides a structure and comprehensive mechanism for ensuring that the activities and products of an enterprise do not cause unacceptable effects on the environment. Waste minimization or cleaner production. Waste minimization is one of the strategies adopted for minimizing the industrial pollution. The objective of the scheme is to assist the small and medium-scale industry in adoption of cleaner production practices. Environmental statistic and mapping for sound environmental management, reliable information base and the mapping of areas needing special attention for pollution prevention and control are a prerequisite. As a step in the direction, projects and pilot studies have been initiated through various researchers, institutions and organizations. Under this program, following studies have been initiated and are in various stages of completion: GIS-based hydrological modeling for water quality and quantity in Kaveri River Basin by IIT Delhi, geochemical baseline mapping for environmental management by National Geophysical Research Institute, Hyderabad. Let us now discuss water pollution. Water is a unique substance because it can naturally renew and cleanse itself by allowing pollutants to settle out through the process of sedimentation or breakdown, or by diluting the pollutants to a point where they are not in harmful concentration. What is pollution? Pollution can be defined in several ways. Water pollution occurs when energy and other materials are released, degrading the quality of the water for other users. Where is all of this pollution coming from? There are two main sources of water pollution: point sources and non-point sources. Point sources include factories, wastewater treatment facilities, septic system, and other sources that are clearly discharging pollutants into water sources. Non-point sources are more difficult to identify because they cannot be traced back to a particular location. Non-point sources include runoff, including sediment, fertilizer, chemicals, and animal waste from farms, fields, construction sites, and mines.
Water pollution. What causes water pollution? Marine dumping. Dumping of litter in the sea causes water pollution, and it is a major problem for the marine animals. Oil pollution. Ocean water is polluted by oil through oil spill, routine shipping, and industries dumping. Sewage. Houses and industries produce wastewater that causes pollution in the lakes and rivers. Underground storage leakage. Leakages in the underground storage tanks or pipes such as petroleum storage causes water pollution. How can we stop water pollution? You can prevent water pollution by following few simple guidelines. These guidelines can be followed in your everyday life. Don't let water run while you are washing or brushing your teeth. This will help preventing water wastage, and it reduces the amount of contaminated water that needs treatment. Use environment-friendly household products like toiletries, soap-based household cleaning material, and washing powder as far as possible. Check your vehicles for any leaks that could pollute waterways when flushed down in city drains. Many car repairs businesses accept the used oil for recycling. So give the oil from your vehicles for recycling. Try not to overuse pesticides and fertilizers. This will prevent runoffs of the polluting materials into the nearby water sources. By having more plants in your garden, you are preventing fertilizer, pesticides, and contaminated water from running off into nearby water sources. Don't throw litter into rivers, lakes, or oceans. Clean the litter, if you see it, in rivers, lakes, or on beaches.
Control water pollution. Surface water pollution control. Water pollution refers to the qualitative state of impurity or uncleanness in hydrologic waters of a certain region, such as a watershed. Hydrologic waters. As a reference for water quality, distilled water, H2O, represent the highest state of purity. Waters in the hydrologic cycle may be viewed as natural but are not pure. They become polluted from both natural and human activities. Watershed sources of water pollution. A watershed is defined as an area of the Earth's surface on which hydrologic waters fall, accumulate, are used, disposed of, and eventually are discharged into streams, rivers, or other bodies of water. Water pollutants in streams and rivers. When deleterious waste materials from the sources are discharged into streams or other bodies of water, they become pollutants which have been classified and described. Pollutants or contaminants which enter a body of water can be further divided into degradable, non-conservative pollutants, non-degradable conservative pollutants, hazardous waterborne pollutants, radionuclide pollutants. Subject to the provision of this section, no person shall, without the previous consent of the State Board, establish or take any steps to establish any industry, operation or process, or any treatment and disposal system, or an extension or addition thereto, which is likely to discharge sewage or trade effluent into a stream or well or sewer or on land, such discharge being hereafter in this section referred to as discharge of sewage. Bring into use any new or altered outlets for the discharge of sewage. Begin to make any new discharge of sewage. Board and other agencies in certain cases. Board is having 17 members to carry out the set purposes and the functions of the board. To plan a comprehensive program for the prevention, control or abatement of pollution of streams and wells. To advise the state government on any matters concerning the prevention, control or abatement of water pollution. To collect and disseminate information relating to the water pollution and prevention, control or abatement thereof. To encourage, conduct and participate in investigation and research relating to problems of water pollution, prevention, control or abatement of water pollution. To inspect sewage or trade effluents works and plans for the treatment of sewage and trade effluents and to review plans. Lay down, modify or annual effluent standards for the sewage and trade effluents and for the quantity of receiving water, not being water in an interstate stream resulting from the discharge of effluents, and to classify waters in the state. To evolve economical and reliable methods of treatment of sewage and trade effluents having regard to the peculiar condition of soils, climates and water resources of different regions, and more especially the prevailing flow characteristic of water in streams and wells, which render it impossible to attain even the minimum degree of dilution and other such functions. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The Water Act is enacted with the objective of preventive and control of pollution in India. The Act aims at the maintaining or restoring the wholesome nature of water for the establishment of boards and to vest them with such power so as to enable them to carry out the purposes of the Act. Register to be maintained under section, work, assignment and personal register. The laboratory in charge should maintain a bound register for assignment of work. This register would link the lab sample number to the analyst who makes specific analysis such as pH, EC, BOD, etc. Let us now discuss the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. An act to provide for the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution for the establishment with a view to carrying out the aforesaid purposes of boards, for conferring on and assigning to such boards powers and functions relating thereto and for matters connected therewith. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act was enacted by the Parliament in 1981 with an objective to prevent, control and abatement of air pollution. Objectives of the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. The objective of this Act is to provide for the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution, for the establishment with a view to carrying out the aforesaid purposes of boards, for conferring on and assigning to such boards powers and functions relating thereto and for matters connected therewith. Central Pollution Control Board. The Central Pollution Control Board CPCB statutory organization was constituted in September 1974 under the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Further, CPCB was entrusted with the powers and functions under the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Functions of the Central Board at the national level: advise the central government on any matter concerning prevention and control of water and air pollution and improvement of the quality of air. Functions of the Central Board as state boards for the Union Territories: advise the governments of Union Territories with respect to the suitability of any premises or location for carrying on any industry which is likely to pollute a stream or well or cause air pollutions. The state government may, after consultation with the state board, by notifications in the official gazette, declare in such manner as may be prescribed any area or areas within the state as air pollution controlled area or areas for the purpose of this act. The state government may, after consultation with the state board, by the notification in the official gazette, alter any air pollution control area, whether by way of extension or reduction. Declare a new air pollution control area in which may be merged one or more existing air pollution control areas or any part or parts thereof. State Air Laboratory. The state government may, by notification in the official gazette, establish one or more state air laboratories, or specify one or more laboratories, or institute as state air laboratories to carry out the function entrusted to the state air laboratory under this Act. The state government may, after consultation with the state board, make rules prescribing the function of the state air laboratory, the procedure for the submission to the said laboratory of samples of air or emissions for analysis or test, the form of the laboratory's report thereon, and the fees payable in respect of such report, such other matters as may be necessary or expedient to enable that laboratory to carry out its functions. Functions of the State Air Laboratory and fee for report. The State Air Laboratory established by the central government for a union territory shall cause to be analyzed by the government analyst any sample of air or emission received by it from any officer authorized by the board for the purpose, and shall be entitled to collect a fee for INR 200 for each of the report. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Environment includes water, air and land, and the interrelationship which exists among and between water, air and land and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms and property. Environmental pollutants means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment. Soil pollution, also known as land pollution, is defined as the contamination of soil. Air pollution is caused by discharge of harmful substances in the air. One of the key contributing factors is automotive pollution. Thermal pollution is a discharge of waste heat via energy dissipation into cooling water and subsequently into nearby waterways. Noise generated from machineries, industries, vehicles, power station, loudspeakers and other activities not only cause health hazard to human beings but also cause stress. The state government may, after consultation with the state board by notification in the official gazette, a member of a board other than the member secretary shall be deemed to have vacated his seat if he is absent without reason. Any member other than member secretary shall hold office for a term of 3 years from the date of this nomination. The Water Act is enacted with the objective of prevention and control of pollution in India.